Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout New Vegas. So the good news is that we finally got this Doctor's companion quest, Arcade Gannon, to start. And so he's started this quest. It wants us to jump around and talk to a bunch of the remnants of the Enclave. And this is basically the only quest in the game that's really going to end up involving the Enclave, which highlights how the Enclave is going to be even smaller than the Brotherhood of Steel quest, unless this reestablishes the Enclave and then we just can do something way more with the Enclave.
Hey there. Need anything? Sure. Here's what I got.
There are still a couple of companions that I may not have done their quests, but they should be fairly easy. One of which is talking to Manny Vargas, and just make sure we talk to Manny Vargas about Bitter Springs in particular. Yeah. See, at the nighttime, this is where Boone would normally have been.
What's going on, man?
Been in charge. So I'm gonna have to see if there's a prompt here. Maybe I missed. See, so we've talked to him about Bitter Springs.
See ya.
So that's not what's holding back Boone's quest. Though I would actually like to know who is up there, because Boone's waiting at Lucky 38. Nobody. That makes sense. No reason to really program somebody new.
Hey, you came back. Welcome back. Can I get you anything?
I don't know why he's crouched down like
Sure
that.
thing. Have a look.
This one's got too many things, some of which I probably sold to him. Like this plasma defender, for instance, here, that does a damage of 90. I guess we have to buy that back. And buy that, because those are the gun runners ones. And then pretty much everything else we don't have to buy. Some of these items I don't think I have even one of, like a Brahmin skull. And bullets, certainly. And modifiers. Let's go ahead and buy mods. These might very well be mods that are useless. Wood chipper. Of course, you buy all of these mods, and you're going to spend 12,000 caps. And I have absolutely nothing to do to adjust for that, really, other than selling bullets, which might as well just not do that. So I've gone now from 60,000 caps to having just about 8,000, which is much closer to the right number for this game, it seems. We are looking specifically for somebody that has to be in one of these motel rooms. So this guy was a kid when the Enclave broke up, and so he doesn't really feel like
that tower on the strip. Without you, we'd be in a lot worse shape.
I didn't know Novak settlers would just sit in the ground. So the Enclave remnants, the older people, think of him as just as a kid and won't really listen to him, is what he says. Now the bad news is, while we got this new quest, we also glitched on this quest. The President Kimball had already done his visit, and so I could not talk to Ranger Grant. So, For the Republic Part 3, Part 4, Part 5 very possibly exist, and we may just skip over all of that to the final game. On the other hand, we may be able to do some companion quests that will change things up and maybe let things reset. Okay. I should have really looked at the local map, but I got lucky here. So Daisy Whitman, that clearly there's just a group of people who either we had names and they had some other quest, or they had no other quest and they had names, and I was just assuming that there would be a quest later, and now we've hit that quest later.
You hear there was some kind of Your travels been going all right?
So, yeah. Without the side quest, we just know Daisy Whitman would have been a pilot who was a note back and maybe flew for the NCR, and I suppose she would have been one of the people I could have killed for killing Boone's wife on accident, incorrectly. I could have blamed her inaccurately for killing her.
Told you everything about us, did he? Well, it's been a while since I've had my hands on the controls of a vertibird. There's a chance I could crash us in the middle of Lake Mead. That place seems to attract aircraft for some reason. But if I get one more chance to fly, count me in. I'll be there. My part of the passphrase is dear.
So they all have some kind of passphrase. And so we can get something more as far as a question here. And we still have the boomers on our side. So with the Enclave and the boomers fighting on our side, we could drive out the Legion at the very least, but it definitely seems like Yes Man wants to drive out the NCR also.
I was never happier than when I was in the cockpit. I was able to go just about anywhere and everywhere, limited only by the fuel I could carry. There were more than a few missions where I took the scenic route home just so I could stay in the air. Caught hell for it every time, but worth it. Some of the things we did were questionable, I know. That's just how it was back then. Figure I've done enough good to make up for any sins, anyhow.
So we get some extra story,
Watch
and that's pretty much it.
There.
And that's pretty much it. So this isn't going to be too big of a quest.
Since my mother died, Daisy's been the only woman in my life. She was the only other woman close to my father, too. She flew him out on over a dozen missions, including his last. I've always been close to Daisy. There have been some good men along the way, but lovers make poor confidants. Daisy never had children of her own, so she was always there to listen. Being in the Enclave didn't mean much to her. She just loved to fly. It broke her heart to be grounded.
This highlights what certainly a different way this game could have gone if you just had a fairly talking companion throughout the entire game, giving you more backstory. In a funny way, you can make a game like this, have a companion that you start off with, and then you just hand the companion every single book or item that needs to be read, and they just read it out loud to you. Just straight up make the protagonist illiterate and unable to read. Make the companion do it, then you have one companion with one voice acting, voicing all the lines of dialogue, adding commentary, giving emotion to the story. That would work very well. And if you don't want them to read, you could just talk to the companion, tell them not to read things for you, or you could dismiss the companion even. this face model is not great. And so I guess we get a choice here. It's an important part of her life. Why shouldn't she enjoy it? Some people can't stop reliving their glory days. Let's go with this top one.
As screwed up as it sounds, at least she was a part of something. Granted, it was something admittedly pretty bad, but it was something. If you spent the first half of your life flying Enclave troopers in a vertibird, I suppose picking over pre-war rocket parts doesn't quite compare.
So we get way more dialogue and conversation with this companion than we do with any of the others. So, yeah. It definitely feels like to me that there's some other factions that could have shown up at the end of the game had I not killed them, like the Brotherhood of Steel or the Great Khans. I question though whether you would have ever convinced the Fiends or the Raiders to fight for the NCR. It may be very much that the Fiends and Raiders fight for the Legion, so if you played the game completely differently, that would have happened that way. This certainly is a quest that could have been expanded further as far as a companion quest in the... What are they shooting at? I don't even know. That's just a Brahmin. It's an aggro Brahmin, but whatever. Each of these people could have asked you to do another side quest, following up on the companion quest to distract you even further and just give you more gameplay. I would assume the Enclave is all just humans, so we are almost certainly just coming to talk to this doctor.
I hear the Legion's fixing to attack Hoover Dam.
Hey
We
there.
could go over here and see what she has for sale, but imagine she doesn't have anything of any real value. In fact, it's mostly just items
Bye.
I've sold to her.
Good thing I
But yeah.
ain't there.
With the fast traveling, I didn't fight any random characters, and even if I had walked all the way from Novak to Jacobstown, I still would have probably barely killed enough people to have a full inventory to sell things with.
Is there something else I can do for you?
So every single old face in this game was put into this game specifically because of this mission. Otherwise, we would have had a game where everybody would have been young, much younger looking, and if it wasn't for probably the fact that these faces already existed from Fallout 3, they probably wouldn't have gone that route. Would have been a smarter move to not go that route. Less textures to have to load into the game, and just less animation to have to do.
I'm intrigued, so I'll go to this reunion. I'll be handing things over to Calamity, so talk to her if anything comes up. Oh, you'll need my word from the passphrase to get into the bunker. Friends. Don't forget it. Yes, yes.
So his
Doc Henry
password is
always
dear
was a hard
friends.
one to figure out. It didn't seem to matter whether he was working with humans or dogs. He had an equal lack of affection for both. A regular Diogenes. I'm not sure what the man was after. Knowledge is power, but to what end for Henry, I have no idea. The problem was what mattered to him, not its practical impact. He simply solved riddles because they existed.
So we're picking choices, which I think is just making this character have a personality. So whatever we say here, I think, is going to be how Arcade Gannon here describes himself at the end. And we may actually find his father alive or in corpse form. I suppose there is also an argument here that all of these remnants of the Enclave are trying to be described as blameless, in that they were just either following orders or obsessed with their own microscopic views, instead of looking at the big picture and seeing how they work in the Enclave, a evil organization. Which, yeah, that argument does not really hold a lot of weight. Even the Nazis, to use the common bad guy form, even the Nazis who were just paper pushers and filing forms left and right, at some level still hold the blame, because there was enough evidence there that what their military government was doing was wrong, and even how that military government had been formed was wrong. Even if they were mostly ignorant of the larger atrocities that the Nazis were doing. And you can make the exact same argument for the United States military at any point, even now, that any paper pusher who's filing forms in the military has to hold some moral blame for knowing that the U.S. military is doing things that they almost certainly morally wouldn't agree with here and there. And they are, at the very least, as a military organization, like all military organizations, built around the idea of maiming and killing people and shooting guns, which is morally wrong in most people's book. Of course, they all have justifications and ways they twist that thought in their mind to find it morally acceptable.
Not everyone dreams of being a revolutionary, I suppose. Maybe we can't all change the world. Maybe it's enough just to do good for the short time that we're here. No one's going to sing Doc Henry's praises when he's gone, but he's probably saved more lives than I ever will.
Yeah, I would assume Calamity would just then pick up all the dialogue points that were important. That probably won't even really work that way. Yeah. That is the one advantage of games that don't have 100% voice acting in the dialogue trees, is that you could hand the exact same text from one person to another person, and it wouldn't change anything. But this game really doesn't do too much of that. So that was a Cazador that they attacked. Okay. Suppose we're going to Miguel's pawn shop, which weirdly we can just fast travel to it.
That tower on the strip, the one you can see for miles, I hear it ain't sealed up no more.
So now everybody can go to the Lucky 38? So I'd assume this is the guy we're coming to talk to.
Sticking around for the attractions? Hello, Arcade. Making some new friends, are you? Why
I wonder if some of these
old war horses like us.
Let's see. This definitely seems like some of these people we collect might be bad guys.
It really must be bad out there if he's sending you to us. Is the idea that we swoop in by vertibird, guns blazing?
Sounds good to me. Do you mean it?
I'll be there, but it won't mean squat if the rest of the group isn't there too. Oh, and you'll need my part of the passphrase to get into the bunker. Navarro.
Let's ask some questions here.
I miss those days sometimes. We all had a purpose, you know?
It's funny they can just talk about this out in the public without
The rest
being
of us,
hunted
though,
down.
we were just trying to civilize things. The NCR was still new, and it didn't look like they'd last all that long. Then we lost the oil rig, and shortly after that, the base at Navarro. Nobody left except us remnants.
So this almost certainly is just backstory from one of the previous Fallout games, Fallout 1, 2, or Tactics.
Internal sabotage took down the oil rig. Never did get the full story. The NCR took out Navarro, saying we posed a threat to the region. I was the officer in charge, and Johnson and Moreno were my heavy hitters. Henry handled tech things, and Whitman flew the chopper. Johnson and Moreno never got along, and I had my hands full keeping those two apart some days. It was a difference in philosophy, mostly. Mercy was not part of Moreno's vocabulary. Uh-huh.
And so these are just conversations.
Judah Krieger is the glue that's kept us all together over the years, and with good reason. Anyone who can command Moreno and Johnson in the same unit without somebody getting fragged is one hell of a leader. Krieger was polite and kind, but never warm. He always did his best to make me feel welcome in the group. I think he did it out of a sense of loyalty to my father. Loyalty means a lot to Judah. Not loyalty to the Enclave, or even the ideals they fought for, but to the people who served with him.
They definitely feel like they are getting rewritten as characters, more as good guys.
Sometimes I wonder how much of my father they see in me. They went through a lot together, but my family went through it too. I'm glad they've watched out for me all these years. Maybe someday I can return the favor.
So I wonder if this isn't just going to be that at the Hoover Dam battle, they will fly in and there will just be 4 or 5 NPC characters of old people fighting on my behalf. What this doesn't feel like, though, is the expanded concept that you would normally expect from like Mass Effect and the loyalty missions in Mass Effect. Like that final battle, I believe, in Mass Effect 2 in particular, where you had to have completed the loyalty missions of every single companion, of which there was way too many from the looks of it. I never actually played the game.
I am ready to process our transaction.
But yeah. I would quickly start to run out of money if I was to buy all of these. And I guess everything that is gun runners, now I know you mostly would be buying it from this location. So Gunrunner's Arsenal, I imagine, doesn't actually add the this entire location, but
I am ready.
Wanted to see what else they had, but I suspect it does add everything into the inventory. Although it is questionable whether you need to buy any of that.
Come back and see us again soon.
It would be expecting a little too much for a Gunrunner's Arsenal to add this entire building and entire quests. It's possible that it added this entire built box, though. And shopkeeper. And so now we walk, and we'll see if there's a decent possibility here that there's just something I missed here, something I missed here. Not sure I ever did get water to the sharecropper's farm. But yeah, like as I was saying before, oh, there's a whole named house here I missed. I actually think we've been in here before, but it may just be that I've seen a house with the same layout. I don't think it is going to be a case that Legion will win the fight no matter what, unless I have at least 3 backup factions, or that I would even get a better experience overall by having 3 extra factions at the final battle.
Yeah. Been a while, Arcade. So, what's the point of all this? Can't find any younger mercenaries?
Let's see. The advanced level of tech would be useful in settling things between the NCR and Legion. There isn't anyone else with your equipment and expertise. Seems like... Let's go with the second one.
You can thank the NCR for that one. Wait, this isn't on behalf of the NCR, is it?
Let's see. Doesn't matter who we help. No, I was planning on helping the Legion against the NCR. Well, I was hoping you'd take down the NCR since that's the plan.
Yeah, it does. There's not a chance you'll find me helping the NCR in any way. They've caused me too much grief.
So, either we're gonna have to lie here, or say you're not coming.
Oh, I'll come. But depending on the plan, I might not be staying. Keep that in mind. Arcade might have mentioned there's a passphrase needed to get into the bunker. My part is remember. Heavy weapons trooper. Nothing better than hosing down a target with an excess of bullets and laser fire. By the time I got through with things, not much was left standing. Any morons who didn't run when they saw me coming got what they deserved. Back then, it was war. If we'd been on the winning side, I'd be called a hero.
So he seems like just a military guy who won't fight for the NCR.
Moreno took the fall of the Enclave hard. He never questioned his orders, never questioned the legitimacy of what the Enclave was doing. To him, it was all one unbroken chain, from Washington to Richardson. When we left Navarro, I remember looking up at Moreno. He said, "Kiss America goodbye, boys." When we left the Enclave behind, the love in him burned itself out. Now there's just a bitter old man left.
Let's go with a man should know when to let go.
It's been decades, you know. By now, he's been out of the Enclave longer than he was in. Most people know when to hang it up and start over. But not Moreno.
So, I chose the bottom option there, where we'd been choosing mostly the top options. Otherwise. So, the implication there is that all the other people would have been willing to fight for Legion if I was playing the game on Legion's side. I just can't morally ever expect that I would do that. Yeah. And that definitely highlights where a game needs to balance out competing opposing factions a lot better. I think for the most part, Skyrim does a much better job of that. Also, it seemed like it was much easier to flippantly side with one side or the other in the war in Skyrim. I did hear that Fallout 4 does not have any gun condition game mechanics. Perhaps it should have some gun condition mechanics, but better to have none than to have what this does, which is too many gun condition mechanics
Where am I
than
supposed to take my leave? Free side?
armor and guns wearing down. And I also heard that Fallout 76 lets you use junk to repair items, which that sounds like an even better system. So there is a empty hollowed out triangle here in this direction, so there is a location of something. So we're following the triangle, but we're keeping an eye over here for whatever coyotes or whatever are nearby. They could be death calls for all I know. Cannibal Johnson's Cave. Okay. And so there's this whole character. That I guess maybe we would have accidentally fought. I don't know if he really is going to be a cannibal, or if this was the one place where you could have become a cannibal. And if I choose not to become a cannibal now, I probably won't ever be able to be a cannibal, which is fine. But on the stats, which it's worth pointing those out, way over here under general, I have at this point managed to do almost everything. I haven't been addicted. I could definitely take a bunch of drugs and get addicted. I still haven't exploded any pants. I haven't created any weapons, so weirdly there seems like a whole mechanic here I haven't figured out at all as far as how you would create a weapon. That almost feels like DLC. It says I haven't consumed any water, which I assume that would be drinking dirty water or pure water. I don't have the Sandman skill to do Sandman kills. I haven't done any paralyzing punches, which I think requires a perk, or robots being disabled, which I know takes a perk. But to eat corpse, you need cannibalism. To get Mysterious Stranger, you need that perk. To get Misfortune, you need that perk. We've had 9 speech failures, which it's funny that it counts your failures instead of your successes. And certainly, items being crafted, we've done a whole bunch of that, but apparently to craft guns, you need another perk. I am at 232,000 item caps that have been bartered and traded back and forth. And then the roulette, blackjack, and slots played about 12 times each. Let's see, we could look around and just see if there's anything intriguing here. He has food on the counter. Lad's Life, I believe, is just a magazine. It's hard to tell. Could be a book. Sunset Sarsaparillas. And then you have an Enclave footlocker, a ham radio, and then just a bunch of posters. So there should be a full conversation that happens here. And then as far as crafting things, yeah, I'm just never really going to have the right ingredients to craft anything. This whole system is so poor and so underused. Really should have been left out of the game.
Well, it's about damn time. What took you? Oh.
Let's see.
I've been in the Reaper's shadow for a long time now, and I thought he'd finally showed up to collect. He's just mocking me now.
Tell me about yourself.
What do you want to know? I'm not saying. It's part of my mystique, after all. The truth
Speech
of it
check
is
for
that I
XP.
did cut out a Raider's heart, but only took a bite to mess with his buddies. They had me surrounded, and I went with the first thing that came to mind. Some ran, and the rest were startled just long enough. Sure do. Had a wife for a while. Tribal girl, really pretty eyes. But she's been gone a long time now. Well, ain't like I've got places to be. There's a twitch in my trigger finger. I've lost my eagle eyes, and the other day I could have sworn I heard Sergeant Dornan chewing me out. I'm old and I'm starting to feel it. It's not pleasant, especially when you know your mind's slipping away. And we all gotta go sometime. But I was hoping for something a little more heroic.
We should just ask all the questions. Like, very obviously, most people would have missed this cave.
He was a drill instructor I knew. He was also the meanest bastard I've ever known. Once he caught this private out of uniform, and old Dornan went off on the most ear-blistering rant known to man. It was inspiring. Yeah. It was a long time ago. Things were better back then.
So, notice he's not mentioning the Enclave.
Thought I recognized the fellow with you. So what's this reunion all about then?
We're gathering allies.
Well, now there's an interesting idea. Do a bit of good before we're all dead and forgotten. You can count me in. Oh, and in case Arcade forgot to mention it, there's a 5-word passphrase needed to get into the bunker.
His voice has gotten echoey.
Old. Appropriate, huh?
If I had to pick anyone who didn't belong in the Enclave, it would definitely be Johnson. He hated what the Enclave was doing. Day to day, week to week, he would question orders, subvert mission objectives, do anything he could to serve without serving. It's amazing he was never court-martialed. He always had good things to say about my father. Said I was like him in a lot of ways. I wish I knew.
Again, I'm just trying to be nice to this guy. I kind of wonder if this is setting up the idea that Arcade Gannon here is going to re-establish the Enclave or make a new Enclave for potential future games, since, yeah, I'm not sure about the timeline, but I think the events of this game happened before the events of Fallout 3. So, technically a sequel, but not really considered a sequel, I'm sure, by Bethesda.
I wonder if he would. It's pointless, I know, but sometimes I wonder what he wanted me to be. Maybe being a doctor in the middle of Nevada wasn't exactly what he had in mind for his little boy.
Now, the other thing I think to point out here is that the let's see if we can just hide. Take some Sunset Sarsaparilla and Loose Karma, and then we'll lockpick this. Even if this does just establish a new Enclave storyline wise, it's not going to establish a new Enclave, I think, in this game. Maybe it will. Bunch of old people giving me quests. As far as miscellaneous quest items, do we have all of these? These were all the Vault 11 things.
Alright, I know you.
Which will go ahead and stop play those, so it's just marked. Here's a house has died note. It is possible that if I walked down in this general direction I might find something. Otherwise we are fast traveling to a remnants bunker that we haven't visited. So I'll walk in this little direction and see if we see any hollowed out triangles that might lead me to investigate further. The Arcade Ganon name is the biggest problem in my book for the character, because he does come off like they're making some kind of weird reference to Zelda. Give me a little bit of extra XP. And then you have a water spot here that you can actually drink from, and it's not radioactive. So that was something, but not actually marked as anything. Do see an empty triangle in one direction, though. So this would highlight, I suppose, how you could investigate the whole area without using the perk to just reveal everything on the map. But it definitely would be a time waster. If that was the only way you could play, sure, you could probably force the player to engage with that, but I don't think the player would appreciate that. So that was just random Legion assassins. Just popping up. I guess that would be the one explanation or reason for Fitz was apparently a character that we were supposed to be able to talk to, and now Fitz is dead because of the random assassins.
Hey, you need water? I got water. Clean. If you're low on caps. The NCR fixed up the pipe network pretty good, if we have a water license. There's a few independent ones like me, but it's most... They won't just let anybody. They're their main. All right. Glad to do it.
So she sells water, which would imply to me that she should buy water. But unfortunately, if you look at this, I can't really sell too much to her. Because she doesn't have any real money.
Thanks.
And selling items to her
until next time
makes the items disappear completely. Maybe Fitz was a shopkeeper who would have sold something else. Maybe Fitz could have led to something else. And I assume you're just not going to get into that area, so instead of being over encumbered, let's see that this is 5,000. Let's see if we can make a knife in a good position. Anything that's gun runners could increase its value. How much is a knife worth? 17. So it does make sense to just increase your element here. There's nothing I can do with the super sledge, so it would be fairly easy to just drop the super sledge and then see if we can repair anything else. We can take this one, I guess. The real thing that we'll have to get rid of is probably the Legion armor. Let's take the Remnant's power helmet, since we know there's only going to be one of those anyways, and just take that helmet and that helmet. Then could maintain our armor. That'll get us close enough to being over encumbered, to not being over encumbered. Yep, this definitely could have been a business inside a building, but does seem nicer to have them outside the building. Of course, that failed miserably as soon as we had random encounters, and maybe that explains why there aren't any rad roaches or random encounters, although inherently you could just also make these companion characters more immortal.
Hey there, need anything? Sure, here's what I've got.
And I've pretty much given up on, let's see, buying anything that isn't Gunrunner's arsenal. We could certainly look here and see if we could sell something of any value. Let's see. Throwing spears. Marksman carbine. C4. Brush guns, assault carbines. This one is at full price, or full condition. Yeah, and there's nothing else I think really to sell. Not really worth it. And as far as things to buy, there's definitely things that can be purchased. But I definitely think what I'd like to do is maybe just buy that, because you can buy the same thing multiple times and you may not really need to do that. And yeah, we won't be buying any bullets. So that gets me a few caps. And then I guess I could wander around here in a circle just to see if there's any other new hauled out triangles. Definitely feels more like they just put a spot here just to fill in a gap. Anytime they looked at the map and saw that there wasn't a fast travel location, seems like they tried hard to put something there. So let's move to the companion quest. Still getting 50 XP for the Bright Horners. Let's go and remove the other marker. The big Horners. So, if something happened with the DLC that I was not at max level by the time I was done with the game, and I literally just could not find anything else to do, walking up and down the road of Jonestown seems like a decent way to get XP. We have slowed down quite a bit.
Looks like break time's over.
As far as getting XP and leveling up. And then they put a rock here, so not sure which side of this mountain I'm supposed to be on. I'm probably supposed to be on the other side of the mountain where it doesn't matter. I almost died there from that fall. My health may not have been as high as I thought it was. I keep thinking that there might be some kind of quest. Also, could use taking one rat away if next time I find a random rat away. But yeah, I keep thinking that there would be some kind of challenge around using stim packs on specific limbs. Otherwise the whole system does just feel kind of silly and pointless. We have a unique hatch that we haven't seen anywhere else. And then this is going to take us to a dark room, so let's turn on the flashlight. One of these active door control panels, which have only been companion dismissal panels up until this point. So the phrase is "Dear old friends, remember Navarro," which the game is going to automatically arrange the 5 words for you, so you didn't have to really know. And then it brings us into what looks very much like the Brotherhood of Steel location, which I can't say I hate the idea of them reusing this interior. If anything, there should have been several Enclave / Brotherhood of Steel dungeon locations in the game. It would have been a way to have more varied visuals for the dungeons and also encourage them to make more dungeons in general. So we have a vertibird here. I don't know what I was really expecting, and what looks like a bunch of power armor. So with them and the boomers on my side, definitely seems like they are in good shape. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get any of this power armor on. And I would assume each of these power armors are exactly the same, but this looks like this model might be a little bit skinnier than this model. And that might just be visual angles, I don't know, but yeah, it's probably exactly the same. Definitely doesn't feel like there's a male-female version of it. And we have the map getting reused once again.
They say the kings got massacred. Who's gonna watch over Freeside now?
Whoops, that was something I did. So, on this quest, ask the remnants to support to fight against the Legion or NCR. We're going anti-Legion, we pretty much have to. The NCR themselves may get knocked out.
What are you talking to me for? Talk to Krieger.
Okay, so we need Krieger, the leader, who is in the absolute worst spot to talk to him.
Glad to see you made it here all right. So, who are we going up against?
I want you to help the NCR hold the dam. I want the Legion to... How are you going to deploy your squad? Let's ask some basic questions.
This was a minor refueling station for vertebrates. It seemed an appropriate place to stash our equipment if we ever needed it. I'm surprised this place hasn't fallen apart. When I put it into standby mode, I expected to return to it within a few years, not decades. Moreno, Johnson, Henry, and I will be the boots on the ground. Whitman will stay with the vertebrate.
Yeah, there's no reason to help the Legion, so of the two options, let's help the NCR hold the dam.
Then that's the plan. We're gonna have a problem with Moreno, though. He won't like that we're helping the NCR. You'll have to talk to him.
Let's ask some basic questions.
Day one, we didn't. It's as simple as that. The rest of us moved on while Moreno didn't. Still, I'm not convinced Moreno hates the NCR as much as he thinks he does. You still might be able to talk him out of leaving. He won't turn on us, but he's a good shot, and I'd hate to do this without him.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with I'll talk to Moreno instead of asking him to order it.
You've got only one chance at this. I know Moreno. Once he's made up his mind about something, there's no changing it.
Sure. Good for you.
Have you seen that tower on the strip all?
I didn't come all the way out here just so we could save the fucking NCR. I'm out.
So we would have needed a speech check of 80.
I can't believe you've actually talked me into this. Fine, I'm in. But don't expect me to hold my fire if any NCR troops get in the way.
Thanks for doing this. Getting them all back together again. I'll be honest, when Moreno started going off, I didn't think we'd all be walking out of there in one piece. I still don't know how this is all going to shake out in the end.
It feels like that should have been a much more natural conversation.
I've been wondering about Daisy and the others for so long, I still haven't figured out what I should do. I mean, I'm not like them. I was born at Navarro and my father served with them, but I wasn't really part of the Enclave. It seems presumptuous of me to think I could join the fight, even if this is a cause worth fighting for. Because I know when fighting breaks out of the dam, all hell is going to break loose in Freeside. They're going to need every doctor they can get.
Let's send him back to Freeside.
I honestly didn't expect you to say that. When I talked to you about Daisy and the others, you seem to put a lot of value in loyalty to the past. What's changed since then?
Let's see. So here we have another speech check. And so that's where all the conversations led to.
True enough, I suppose. Getting them back together must be worth more than me spraying plasma all over the dam. Back to Freeside it is. I need to make a stop before I settle in. I'll be back in a while. Thanks again for your help. It means a lot to me.
And so that's the end of that companion quest. Okay. So we need to talk to Krieger again.
Moreno's a stubborn son of a bitch, but he's also tougher than any of us. I'm glad you were able to talk him into staying. Since Whitman will be staying with the Vertibird, she's offered to give her old suit of power armor to you. You'll need special training to use it properly, so talk to her as soon as you get the chance. The training might take several hours, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
The NCR took... I appreciate you keeping Orion in the group. Since I won't be needing my armor, makes the cockpit a bit cramped, you should take it. It'll take a few hours to show you how to use it properly, so let's get started.
And now I'm over encumbered. That gives us 500 XP. And that quest is done. And my hope here would be that I could put on the Remnant's power armor and it would give me enough strength to be able to hold on to everything. No such luck. And I wouldn't have had the Remnant's power helmet, apparently, if I hadn't found that earlier. So, Legion Protection Armor, Legion Veteran Armor. Let's go with Legion Veteran Armor. And then let's see if we can just maybe eat or drink some things that would be taking up weight. Imagine we don't have too much. Lad's Life is a magazine. NCR emergency radio. Suppose that's another thing we could have. Just drink this water. Sunset sarsaparillas, that'll get us there. And possibly solve our other quest. Let's see, do we have 50 sunset sarsaparilla blue bottle caps, or are there simply just 2 blue bottle caps left somewhere that I have to pick them up? That would be incredibly annoying if it turned out that the only way to do that is to so here's your Remnant outfit. Yeah, it would be incredibly annoying if the only way to get the last couple of Sunset Sarsaparilla bottle caps is to find them on the floor somewhere. They are tiny little items.
Like I said, I needed to go do something. This is it. It belonged to my father. I thought I might wear it at Hoover Dam, but after you talked me out of it, I didn't see the point in hanging on to it any longer. I'm here because of you, so I figured you're the one most deserving of it. It should protect you from everything short of a plasma caster. And if you need anything at all, you know where to find me.
Let's go with what you're going to do now.
Back to old Mormon Fort, where I can do some good. We followers may be idealistic, but even I know this is going to end in blood. Fortis fortuna adiuvat. Good luck. And goodbye.
Okay. So that finishes that quest. What did he just give me? Gannon family Tesla armor, Gannon family Tesla helmet. Okay. Easiest way to fix this would be to drop anything he can actually carry, which is not much. But that got my weight low enough. Let me just make sure he's actually holding on to the items I gave him and he didn't drop it and it didn't roll. So then that's gonna put us to Hoover Dam for the Republic quest, which, yeah, it's not really the quest I want to do. Back to the North Gate we fast travel to. So if the Lucky 38 is now open and we go into the casino, are there going to be people in the casino? We'll just take a quick gander here. And from the looks of it, it seems like no, that is not the case. Maybe at some point post-game there will be people at the casino.
The recent disturbance at Gamora has been resolved. Do not be afraid to patronize Gamora.
Yeah. If we go back to the penthouse here, then this would be this quest.
This is big, huh? A very big moment. Here goes. I'll just take that platinum chip off your hands.
I guess we're just moving
Wish
this
me
story
luck.
forward without a companion, which probably is a mistake, but whatever.
Wow, Mr. Househead, the security. Hope to see you.
Completes another quest.
You did a super job.
We're not ready to go to the dam just yet. There might be people in the cocktail lounge. Okay. So then the question comes down to, do I really need the armor I'm wearing? Which would lower charisma and add rad resistance, but has a defense of 26 and 6 versus 20 and 5. But this is medium and light, and this is medium and light. Okay. That does make an argument to get rid of the combat armor and just wear the family Tesla helmet. So let's do that. Then Legion Veteran, or probably already have 2 of those. Yeah, Legion Veteran armor at 300 versus Legion Veteran at 299. So we'll sell that. And then these would be repair items we could take to see if we wanted to repair anything. Then we will drop the rest of these items. And then guns wise, oh, it's gonna be such a nightmare as far as guns, so let's just throw in items that we probably are not going to be using. That we think what we might be using. 3,800 for this assault carbine, which would do 166 damage, whereas this version only does 127 damage, so it really goes to show where the quality would go there. And then we'll sell a Gauss rifle, then goggle helmets. Shouldn't even be in that. Knives. Yep. What I don't want to do here is spend too much time on this. I just want to find out if there is a real way to sell items and have some things that could go. So this one could be repaired with service rifle, and then no mods for that one. This one can't be repaired at all. This one can't be repaired at all. Service rifles can be repaired. We could add plus 50% to its condition. But before we do that, I still feel like modding should only really happen to runners arsenal guns, or the value here is 540. I add this mod permanently and it doubles its value to 1,190. Still, with that, it is not really doing enough damage. So if we were going to come over here and try and sell that gun now, which is what we were focusing on, this 166 gun versus a 3634 gun versus a 126 gun. All I have is a bunch of miscellaneous things that would take up weight, so I don't want to buy any of that. I could buy back some other weapons if they had higher value. Or I could buy back power armor. Likely there's just not another service rifle. Yeah. So that trade didn't really work particularly well. Just leaves me trading out weapons for power armor. Alright, companion quest. We've done this companion quest. We haven't done him.
Oh, it's you. Anything's better than staying here. Let's go.
We haven't done his companion quest, which I'm not sure what it really even is. Let's talk to him and see if we can...
Yeah, I'm just old and tired. But being locked in a cool, dark pod to sleep for a few centuries doesn't sound so bad.
Let's see. Tell me about yourself. Tell me something else about yourself.
I sort of figured you had your own reasons for keeping. Time was. I was a pretty good shot with. I can also do.
Let's see. I'm trying to exhaust all of these.
Hold it.
Of course, I don't really care about any of these quests.
Anything to hold your attention.
Let's see.
Good call. Hey, as long as you're not asking me.
So that still didn't really push his quest forward. We have already done Rex's quest.
See you around.
We've already done Veronica's quest. So Boone...
Is it time? I'm ready when you are.
Boone is the last person we have that really has a quest that it looks like we can actually maybe do. Let's see. These grenades are about the only thing I've been able to craft that seem like they are constructible unless you have just a massive amount of crafting items. It's just not worth dealing with any of that.
What is it?
So we're exhausting all of this to try.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe just have to give him his beret. Let's see.
Fine by me. What is it? That part of Carl is dead. That part of...
See, like, I'm doing every line of dialogue, it seems like it would make sense to do. So the only other option would be to force him just to go to Bitter Springs. The other question certainly to ask is, do we have Eddie with us? I don't think we 100% are certain we do. Eddie may have just gone back to Prim. Okay. That gives us something else to deal with. Nope, Eddie is here. So we almost lost Eddie in that travel. But yeah, quest-wise, now that we did that companion quest, the only other hope would be that maybe that would have reset this quest. Otherwise, we are approaching the end of the game. Okay, so where is Bitter Springs? I believe Bitter Springs is here. And so let's just walk around here and see if this triggers any conversation with our companion. Because this is where his quest would go. Spin around and look for any hauled out triangles. So we're looking for people we might be able to talk to. Probably going to be a named personality.
Things are getting stranger every day.
It's just not really a lot of people in Bitter Springs.
Hey, it was you that rescued President Kimball, wasn't it? You're becoming quite...
Let's see, heal my radiation while we're here.
Yeah? What is it? Let me take... Stay safe out there.
We'll go and talk to the guy.
That part of my... Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely seems like you can't just force him into a conversation.
You're some kind of hero, huh? I heard about how you... This is the Bitter Springs refugee camp. We've been maintaining it for a few years now, ever since Caesar's Legion started seriously pushing west. Most of the people here were displaced by the Legion's advance. At first, there weren't many, but lately it's been more than we can handle. This whole area used to be a Great Khan encampment before they relocated to Red Rock Canyon. We just haven't had the manpower to clean it all up yet. At this point, I'll take anything you can give me. We need more troops, fresh supplies, and medical relief.
Maybe this will give me some new
enough,
quests.
Someone's been coming out of the mountains at night, stealing supplies and picking off my people. I don't know. The NCR's stretched thin as it is. I've put in requests at Camp Golf, Forlorn Hope, McCarran, but things are no better there. Maybe if their situations improved, they'd have men to spare. Or maybe they'd listen to someone with a reputation for helping the NCR. Food, blankets, clothes, tools. The Army used to ship out caches of supplies regularly. But with the Legion so active, we haven't gotten any in months. You'll want to talk to Lieutenant Markland about that. He's our medical officer. He should be down at the medical tent now. It started about 6 months ago. At first it was just supplies going missing. We figured it was refugees. Then people started dying. Always a single bullet to the head. Always from extreme range. We've lost 8 refugees and 3 soldiers to this son of a bitch. We know he must be hiding out in one of the caves up in the mountains. But I don't have enough men to send out looking for him. Okay, but make it quick. I'm very busy here. It's a distress call. This camp is in bad shape, and if we don't get relief soon, I don't know what will happen. Okay.
Alright, so that fixes our problem here that we had before, which is that there was just no quest left to do. Which inherently this also points out that any one of these locations on the map may have somebody that I was supposed to talk to, and I just didn't talk to that one person. Noticeably, quest givers not labeled on the map, even when this game was originally released. That seems like a major oversight that anybody would have obviously thought to avoid. But yeah, if we do these quests, particularly with Boone, then this might help us open his companion quest, or it might mostly just eliminate his companion quest completely. And leave us with just... It might just leave us with a bunch of XP. Not a big problem there. Either way. I doubt getting a bunch of ant meat is going to prove to be useful unless I was just feeding ant meat to all of the people in Bitter Springs. Every spray painted Great Con section is not likely to be a hidden rock. Radioactive supply crates, that's something unique. So for all I know, this was a Great Con quest that we can't do because we killed all the Great Cons. This was part of a Great Con quest. Let's see. I'd assume that the item that's a radioactive supply crate weighs 10 pounds. It apparently is a gek, which that brings back life to an area. So yeah, a 10-pound extra weight item. These caves are still very poorly animated, just completely pitch black holes in the world. No, we haven't found any haven't really found any like flesh bags in this game. They seem to just not exist. Which, okay. If they don't want to have flesh bags, that's fine by me. It's not like they were super important elements in Fallout 3. also would indicate that there's just less super mutant activity in general. We'll over encumber ourselves with items. Probably pointless items. We're down to 47 bobby pins. Great con. Cash. A lot of painting here. It could have led to something more interesting if there was a cutscene that made you actually look at these graffitis and do something with the graffitis. And these are just really tiny caves. Which, in fairness, this is better than nothing. Which is mostly what you get the rest of the game. Terribly designed exits also. Make sure we're going to the right directions on the map. Wonder if walking backwards might work. Okay. So my local map implies to me that we can't go there. World map would also send me this way. Also, just can't fall on hope for other quests, so let's just go ahead and fast travel and do that.
Legion can count on that.
Shooting at bloat flies, I believe. So let's talk to this guy.
I heard about how you saved the president's life. You handled yourself well against the Legion, and that took some of the pressure off. Watch yourself out there.
Okay. Kind of same thing. Camp McCarran. And then something else here. I'm not sure if that's inside or outside of Camp McCarran. As far as the other location. The compass really shows how useless it is with the arrows, in that it would make so much sense for the arrows to have a distance attached to them. Even if it's a relative distance, it really could just be a rounded number distance. To say in 100 yards, this direction is something, in 1,000 yards, this direction is something, so obviously you're going for the 100 yards. Or you could also just program it to only point to the closest item, not every item.
Yes? What is it? What? Why on earth would you think you can walk in here and make troop deployment recommendations to me? Bye.
Interesting that that went that direction. Where am I? I thought I was on good terms with that guy, but apparently not. Okay. Let's just fast travel to Camp Golf. Let's see. We've done very little in Camp Golf, and I wouldn't be surprised if they too say no as far as deployments. Would have thought that that Alpha Squad, or whatever that squad was, I think it was Bravo Squad, come to think of it, but you would think maybe they would end up...
Wish I had him. I've been hearing some rumors from the embassy that Mr. House has gone quiet all of a sudden. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Let's see what this guy says.
After what you did getting my misfits whipped into shape, yeah, I can spare a couple boys for Bitter Springs. I'll issue the dispatch orders. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So let's go to this Bloodborne cave. Otherwise... I don't believe Night Stalker blood is really worth it that much. So we're like at the end of the game here, as far as companions, if we're not careful. So barter being brought up to anything else seems like a bad choice. Guns being brought up anymore, I think, is probably a bad choice. Melee weapons. Survival up to 75. Seems like a nice move. And medicine working its way up, or unarmed working its way up. And I think we have, at this point, if we scroll all the way down, we still have a few perks that we can't reach just because we're not at that level. But yeah, this one would require survival 100, this requires unarmed, this one requires energy weapons at 90s, melee weapons unarmed, energy weapons melee weapons, explosion at 70, unarmed at 70, explosion at 70. This one specifically requires our strength to be at 7, which we're just never going to get to that point. That requires cannibal. And then for some reason I can't take here and now, which is probably a good thing. Let's see. We now know what Turbo does, so that quest, that perk's not really that useful. Let's see. Develop Nuka-Cola's perks for Nuka-Cola recipes at the workbench. That's one thought. I think there's something else that would give us a workbench ability. Otherwise, definitely would be taking like Misfortune, which I would take Misfortune over the Wanderer quest. The problem though with taking the perks to give you more crafting abilities is you still really don't craft anything that important. We'd think one of these would be about building a gun from scratch, but none of the perks say anything like that. Yeah. And Mr. Sandman may be a quest I take it might be a quest I take at the very end. Now, earlier in this playthrough, I thought luck might play a really bigger point. That you would come down to just a gamble and your luck would matter. But doesn't seem like that's really the case. And if you had absolutely nothing else you could take, you might just take things that let you carry more items. But if you took a mod to remove the over-encumbered factor in particular, that would leave you in a much better position to take every other perk that would be more interesting. More efficient recycling recipes available at the workbench if you do vigilant recycler, which late in the game probably isn't really worth taking. Might be better for if you're going to shoot a lot of electric guns. Find considerably more bottle caps and containers than you normally would. Could be useful in this game way more than it would be in most other games, other Fallout games. Light armor or no armor, you're 10% faster. Would speed up the whole gameplay experience, but not really give you anything. Okay, so you can just become a cannibal. So that's important to remember. You don't have to talk to anybody to become a cannibal, although I wonder if you couldn't simply have gotten that perk for free if you played your game a different way. Okay, junk rounds. Scrap metal and tin cans. Thought I already had junk rounds. So bullets, possibly, or Nuka-Colas. I think Nuka-Colas are more interesting, so I'm gonna pick that one. Of course, have to find it. Alright. Where were we going? In this general direction. Oh, and I guess if Eddie is around, she should be around, we can talk to him. Let's see, crafting from this point. So we can see if there's a lot of new things that we got from that perk. So an ice cold Nuka-Cola just takes 3 Nuka-Colas. You don't actually have to cool it. So 3 regular Nuka-Colas becomes 2 ice cold Nuka-Colas. I think that's how that system works, with the numbers on the left and the right. And an ice cold Nuka-Cola gives you plus 4 HP per second. Nuka-Cola Quartz just takes 3 Nuka-Colas. Nuka-Cola Victory just takes 3 Nuka-Colas. If you have a bunch of Nuka-Cola Quartzes, you can turn it into a Nuka-Cola Grenade. I think that is pretty much it. Yeah. I was hoping some of those would affect Sunset Sarsaparillas too. But from the looks of it, no such luck. Make sure I'm going going in the right direction. Roughly. Fire geckos. You know that there are golden geckos also, but we've only seen those really in one location. So I'm not really anticipating them to play a big role in the game at this point. Probably would have helped if there had been 2 or 3 variants of the same enemy. Definitely would have helped if I got XP for actually crafting things. Wow, so there's just a secret little curve up the mountain. The problem with there being a secret curve up the mountain is that implies that there may be multiple secret curves around every single mountain. That's an interesting distance shot, but I also think that highlights how much of the game is really just emptiness. Just a massive amount of emptiness. Great Khan Supply Cave.
Oh my. Great Khan looks like. Guess he fought at Bitter Springs. Saw it happen.
Frag mines that seem to have not been actually armed. So it's just a remnant Great Khan guy from the looks of it. Another Great Khan supply crate, which has let us find supplies for the Bitter Springs, which I didn't realize that's what I was really doing. But I guess that is what I was doing. And as far as I can tell, there's just nothing here. I'll avoid traps and see if maybe there's multiple Great Khan people. I can't pick it up. I can see it, I can step on it, but it seems like it's supposed to be somewhere over here. Maybe visually it's trying to tell a story here that the Great Khan actually did want to die. And there's a stump here you can sit on, which is interesting. It's definitely not the typical experience. Definitely feels like maybe they were going to have you sit on the stump and hear a monologue of the Great Khans from this guy. He has a name. Yeah, that definitely implies to me that there is quests here that I could have done and have missed out on. Let's see. store all the ant meat and ant nectar. Just empty out all of my cooking items. Moonshine. That's a new one. No, I definitely would pity a player that was just using all of these food items as a way of making a few caps. That definitely would be a terrible experience. Should have a bunch of leather belts. Oh, 50 weight wood chipper. Wow. I thought that cleaned up a lot of my inventory. Did we get all the ammunition? Yes, we did. Could we sleep in a makeshift bedding? Yes. Almost walked away without taking that Great Khan armor, which I think would be fairly valuable since I don't think we have multiple copies of that. So he was here. We could have gone around that way. There is no other way here. So that seems like that is that. Making challenges, progress on challenges by disintegrating people. We can just fast travel. It's easier to fast travel than it is to walk around the mountain. And this isn't so much a companion quest as this is just quests.
Is it
I
me, or
don't
has the
know where
Brotherhood
else.
stopped engaging us?
Where else I would go, however, to look for more quests.
Yeah? What is it? Hey, if you can help, I'll take whatever I can get. Doctor's bags would be a huge help, but what I really need are medical texts. I'm not trained to deal with major psychological trauma, and we've got a lot of kids in this camp.
Oh, I have that book. So we know how to do that.
I'm an army field medic. I can treat bullet wounds, shrapnel, trench foot, no problem. But this, the kids and the psychological trauma and all the rest, is out of my league.
Let's see.
Caravan companies are probably your best bet. Smaller traders aren't likely to have anything that esoteric.
So I've already found those books, so we'll just say.
Both of them? Wow, that's very resourceful. Thank you. I'd love to help you out, but stay safe out there.
So that whole quest came and gone just because I'm an OCD collector. Inherently, I guess it is worth pointing out that playing the game the way they've designed it so that you are obsessive about collecting everything can benefit you in many cases, although it really ruins the flow of a quest where you should be going out somewhere, killing some random characters as you go to that place, gaining some more resources, getting some more XP. But, you know, what you tend to have happen instead is all of the conversation to start and finish quests happens back to back, and all of the grinding when you're just wandering places and fighting enemies happens back to back. Let's see, Salesman Weekly. I think he, again, is just a magazine, so I'm not even gonna bother stealing it.
You're back. Any progress on saving our skins?
None of the magazines. Our science at 25, these supplies are rated, but if we filter them with Rad-X, they'll be safe.
We do have some spare Rad-X in the supply tent. That might work. Thank you.
I've dealt with the camp problems.
You did?
That's like 25 XP.
Any
case.
information you could give me would be a big help for my reports.
Yeah, 100 XP for these quests. So these quests were supposed to be done way earlier in the game, obviously.
Really? Well, this
Either
canyon used
that
to
or
be a
they're
great
just not
Khan
important
stronghold.
quests.
I suppose that explains why he was able to evade us so easily. About 3 years ago, NCR's first recon launched an attack on the Khan encampment here. There was a communication mix-up that resulted in some non-combatants being killed. I guess he was still bitter about it. It was a tragic mistake, but we've done all we can to make amends. We provided medical aid to the wounded, all the wounded, and permitted the Khans to resettle at Red Rock Canyon. I'm glad it's taken care of, but still, I wish it could have been resolved without violence. There's too much bad blood there already. Where did you get this? You know what? It doesn't even matter. Thank you. This will be a tremendous help.
Her face is incredibly pale.
At this point, I'll take anything you can give me. We need... Okay, but make it quick. I'm very busy here. Good luck.
And see, I think that just... Okay, 3 doctor's bags is the last... Okay, we still have 2 quests here. We must have talked to the wrong person. So we'll go over here. Where can we find doctor's bags, though? Probably the medical facility might be a good place, and that would be close to the Crimson Caravan anyways, so good chance of getting that too. I can craft doctor's bags, but finding the ingredients to craft a doctor's bag is as useless as it would be to just buy doctor's bags. Same. Where is this pointing me to go? It says way over here. That's where it wants me to go through. All these doors end up in the same place.
Something I can do for you?
Then the quest says talk to Camp McCarran. So maybe it's not this guy.
Yes? What is it? What? Bye.
Okay, so if it's not talk to him, then who else could it be talking to?
Hey. Oh, good to see you.
Yes? Something else you...
See, I don't understand if maybe my relationship with this general in some way is worse.
You're back. Yep. See you around.
Is it possible that I'm supposed to, like, it's possible I'm supposed to do something else? It doesn't seem like I'm supposed to talk to anybody else. And the other two people liked me just fine. The only thing I could think of doing is maybe removing that.
Something I can do for you?
And I suppose we could eat anything that would increase our charisma, which should be something like mentats.
Yes? What is it? Could we set up here with our sights set on annexing? If anything, they annexed. And in
We'll exhaust all of our dialogue.
And what? Why on earth would you think you can walk in here and make troop deployment recommendations to me? Bye.
And so we have just another quest that seems to me like it's broken, or possibly that there's some other element to it. Yeah. Will I get any doctor's bags from anybody around here? So it wasn't the armor, so let's remind ourselves to put the armor back on. See if maybe we could just hack the computers and do troop deployments that way. Lack is 2, so mask wouldn't be right, and dust wouldn't be. Well, mask might be right, actually. At 10 XP, at 20 XP though, you're never going to get to the next level that way.
We won't go quiet. The Legion can count on that.
So let's see if we can find.
Didn't think
somebody.
you'd be back.
No new dialogue there.
Howdy. What brings you back? Oh.
No new dialogue there. Boone. Still seems like nothing's happening there.
Why the fuck are you back here? Is that right? And what sort of... I guess you're right. I won't be able to move fast. God damn it. Is there nothing I can't fuck up here? Well, this whole thing's improvised, and now we'll have to...
Vault 3 maintenance key.
What do you need? I have a job to do.
Already took care of Motor Runner.
What do you need? I have a job to do. Oh my God. Are you the one who saved President Kimball?
What can I do for you?
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
They're all walking around
Is it me or is the
like
brother
crazy.
stuffed
We
in
won't go
cages?
quiet. The Legion's...
What is it?
Yeah. Move they ever made, you ask me.
Okay. So it seems like maybe the Motor Runner quest was the quest that needed to change. Fingers crossed. Maybe I just needed to turn in that quest.
Something. Yes? What is it? What? Bye.
So, seems like maybe I could go back to Vault 3 and investigate that some more. But I don't think that would really lead to much. Just have to come over. Where's Vault 3? Here. That'd be a decent way to grind and kill some people, and I think there might have been some flooded sections in Vault 3 that I didn't have the rebreather enabled to begin with. With 4-3 Doctor's Bag, we're going long today, I recognize that. We need to kind of finish. Let's see if we can find the doctor. Where is she? I could steal the scalpel and tweezers and things, and
turns out the Lucky 38 had its own reactor all along.
You're back. There aren't any more.
okay. No more implants. I was hoping that you could buy more of those. Let's see. Just gonna buy what I think is needed to craft one more doctor's bag. And then that's gonna be 500. I could sell something like this weapon, this colossal rifle. Hope that that's the right move. Probably isn't. I don't think I need stim packs.
Take care.
Right. So amongst all of that, I should be able to make a doctor's bag. Yep. have 3 doctor's bags, which is what we needed. Let's see. And the issue here that sucks is your experience here, as far as reputation. Let's see. For the NCR, is a good-natured rascal. I don't know why then there's some specific animosity for Camp McCarran. It's almost certainly something I did, but how am I supposed to remember what I did, and how am I supposed to undo what I did or make up for it? This is where the cap system and the money would really come into well play. If you're going to have rigid elements in every location, like bedrolls and bathrooms, for instance, why not have some donation box? Now, there was something like that in Fallout 3. There's nothing like that here. But yeah, just paying into a donation box that is always at the front of every city to increase your
I really appreciate
relationship.
Those books. They've already been a huge help.
Let's see. Give 3 doctor's bags.
Thank you. This will keep us well stocked for a good long while. I think that should just about cover us. I really don't know how to thank you. Your bringing me these supplies saved a lot of people. Well, still, thanks again.
So yeah, gaining karma. In the opposite direction, if you wanted to lose your relationship with an area, you could always just shoot people, but it also would perhaps make some sense that you could steal from the donation box and get a bunch of caps that way.
I've been sending requests for relief for months now. Didn't think they'd send you, though. At this point, I'll take anything. Okay.
So there's just seemingly no way to move this quest forward. So I can't do this quest. I can't do this quest. And I just don't know where else I could do anything. There's a whole bunch of fort quests, which we could just run through the fort and kill people if we've got no other idea. Just fast travel, hold out, and empty the entirety of it, of the area. If we were going to do that, it probably would make sense to take out Cottonwood Cove first, since we're already on bad terms with the Legion. As far as any other locations, some of these are DLC locations. And there's probably something in these areas that may just be empty areas. And I just don't think that there's anything at Good Springs left to do. So, yeah. What I'm going to do next time is we're just going to take out the fort and Caesar manually and see what happens if we do that. That's going to be it for this recording. Keep on watching. Thanks.